Dear students, in this video, we are going to discuss the common mistakes in partnership. And as in this term too, you have the retirement and death of partner and digital partnership form. So we shall be discussing about the common mistakes and some important point you should keep in the mind while you are attempting the question on the partnership. So let's discuss. So these are books on accountancy. You are well aware about it. First point, if nothing is mentioned about the ratio, we always assume the profit share ratio is equal. And suppose there are three partners, A, B, and C, and ratio is not given, then we shall assume that the profit share ratio is 1:1:1. And if B retires or B dies, then the new ratio between A and C will be 1:1, as well as the gaining ratio between A and C will be 1:1. Second point, you should always need to understand the difference between the shares and the ratio, because I have always observed students remain confused between the ratio and the shares. Here, where A, B, C are three partners and they share profit and loss in the ratio 5:3:2. So this is the ratio. Whereas 5/10, 3/10, and 2/10 are the shares. How we should calculate the correct new ratio? When you calculate the correct new ratio, what you need to do? First, you need to find out the gaining shares. After you find out the gaining shares, these gaining shares must be added in the old shares of the remaining partners. Now, sometimes gaining shares are given in the question itself, and sometimes the gaining share have to be obtained. So just like here, we are taking one example where A, B, and C are three partners having profit share ratio 5:3:2. B retires and his share is being taken over by A and C in the ratio 2:1. So this ratio basically make it clear that B share will be taken by A and C in the ratio 2:1. It means that B share will be divided into three parts. Two parts of B share will be taken over by A, and 1/3 part of B share will be taken over by C. So here what we need to do, we need to find out gaining shares of A and C with the help of the gaining ratio. So here gaining ratio is given. Let's see how the gaining shares can be found out. So here A's gaining share will be B share, that is 3/10, into 2/3 will be equal to 2/10. Whereas C's gaining share will be 3/10 into 1/3, that is 1/10. And now A's gaining new share will be his old share plus gaining share. A's old share was 5/10, whereas he has gained 2/10. So his new share is 7/10. Whereas C's old share was 2/10, he has gained 1/10 share from B. So his new share is 3/10. So new ratio between A and C is 7:3, and the gaining ratio between A and C is 2:1 that was given in the question. Sometime I have observed that after finding the new ratio, student then find out the gaining ratio. So in order to find the gaining ratio, what they do, they deduct old share from the new shares. So new shares are 7/10 and 3/10. If we deduct old shares from the new share, we will find the gaining shares. And again, once again, what will happen if we deduct old share of A from the new share of A, 7/10 minus 5/10, it will be 2/10. And in case of C, if we did C share, that was 2/10, 3/10 minus 2/10, it will be 1/10. So when you have been given the gaining ratio in the question itself, there is no use to find out the gaining shares and then gaining ratio. So you just keep in the mind whether the gaining ratio is given in the question or you have to find it out. Some important point you should keep in the mind. What is that? That when you find out new shares, whether it's for admission or it's a retirement or death, sum of new shares must be equal to 1. So if you check it, 7 by 10 plus 3 by 10, it is 1. It is 10 by 10, it means it is 1. It means the shares you have calculated, these are correct. And similarly, when the sum of the gaining shares is equal to the sum equal to the retiring partner share, it means the gaining shares obtained have been correctly found out. So gaining share, if we make a sum of this gaining share, 2 by 10 plus 1 by 10, we will have 3 by 10, and 3 by 10 was B share. So in nutshell, when sum of new shares is equal to 1, it means new shares have been calculated correctly. And when the sum of the gaining shares is equal to B's retiring partner or deceased partner, it means gaining share have been calculated correctly. Now next, treatment of goodwill. So when we make a treatment for the goodwill, what we do? In case of treatment of goodwill, normally the entry is remaining partner's account capital or current account debited to retiring partner or deceased partner's capital account. So in this case, what you do, first you find out the present value of goodwill. Out of the present value of goodwill, you find out the deceased or retiring partner share of goodwill that is credited, and deceased or retiring partner share of goodwill is debited in the capital account or current account of the partners. If nothing is mentioned in the question, definitely we assume the capitals are fluctuating and we use the term capital account. So this is quite simple, but what sometimes the student find a problem when the gaining shares come in the negative. So how you can treat such a situation? I have designed one case, one example to make it more understandable to you. Let's have a look on that example. So while calculating gaining shares, if the share of an existing partner comes negative, such partner is a gainer. Okay, so in that case, his partner's capital account will be debited to the extent of his share out of the present value. So we shall understand with the help of practical. Vaibhav, Tanya, and Tanushree were three partners in a firm sharing profit and losses in the ratio 3:2:1. Tanushree, that the third partner, has retired, and the profit share ratio between Vaibhav and Tanya has been decided 1:2. On Tanushree's retirement, the goodwill of the firm has been valued rupees 30,000. Pass general necessary entry for the treatment of goodwill on Tanushree's retirement. चलो हम क्या करें? Now let's find out gaining and sacrifice shares. So what I have done, I have made a table, and it is not necessary that you have to make a table. Basically, with the help of table, I will be able to make the concept clear to you. Otherwise, it is up to you how you find it out. So I have written the name of the partner, and then I have written new shares. New shares are basically between Vaibhav and Tanya, and new share is not applicable in case of Tanushree. 1/3 and 2/3. Then I have dated old share, that 3/6, 2/6, and 1/6. After that, I have found out gaining share, that is minus 1/6, and here 2/6, and here minus 1/6. So in case of Vaibhav, where gaining shares coming minus in minus or negative, it means is a new share has got declined. So he has sacrificed. It means new share is less than the old share. So new share is basically 1/3, whereas the old share was 3/6, that is 1/2. So his share has got declined. So the partner whose share gets declined is basically sacrificer. And the partner who is a sacrificer who loses his share, his partner or capital account will be credited. So Vaibhav is a sacrificer, and he has sacrificed 1/6 share in favor of Tanya. Okay, and whereas Tanya has basically got her share increased. So her share has increased by 2/6, and as she has increased, so she is a gainer, and the gainer partner is debited. Tanushree, who is leaving the firm, she has sacrificed her share, or she has given her share in favor of Tanu. Okay, so she is sacrificer, so she will be receiving the amount of goodwill. So the sacrificer receives the amount of goodwill, whereas the gainer pays the amount of goodwill. So the partner who is a gainer, his capital or current account is debtor, and the partner who is sacrificer, her capital account is credited. So the goodwill value of the firm at the time of retirement was rupees 30,000, and out of which 1/6 will be sacrificed, or that will be credited, will be sacrificed, or will be given to Mr. Weber, so his capital account will be credited. And in case Tanya is a gainer, so her capital account will be debited by 10,000 rupees, and Tanushri, who is retiring, so as she is sacrificed, her capital account will be credited by rupees 5,000. Let's have an entry. Entry will be where Tanu will be debited and Weber and Tanushri will be credited. So entry would be Tanu's capital account debit 10,000 rupees, to Weber's capital account 5,000 rupees, to Tanushri capital account 5,000 rupees. So normally what you see in case of retirement or death of partner, the outgoing partner's capital account is credited, whereas the remaining partner capital account is debited. So it was a basic different case. So whenever such case comes in the examination, normally student loses confidence and they make a mistake. So I hope after going through this case and understanding it, you will have no problem in the examination. Next, we have now we are going to discuss about the profit or loss of a deceased partner. So there are basically two cases. When first case is where the profit ratio among remaining partner does not change, and second case we will be discussing when the gaining, when the profit, there is change in the new ratio, when there is change in the new ratio and old ratio of the remaining partners. So let's understand one by one. First case, when there is no change in the profit ratio, then entry for the profit or a deceased partner is made like this: profit and loss expense account debit to deceased partner's capital account. Okay, and if there is a loss, in case of loss, the entry would be reversed: deceased partner capital account debit to profit and loss account. But when there is a change in the profit ratio among the remaining partners, between remaining partner, so in that case the entry you pass for the purpose of goodwill, the same entry will be passed. So entry would be remaining partners capital account debit to deceased partners capital account. So in this case, entry would be passed in the same manner as you pass in case of goodwill. And what we will do, we will find out deceased partner's share of profit, and that will be credited in his capital account, and the share of profit will be borne by the remaining partner in the gaining ratio. So now in nutshell, you should keep in the mind, when there is no change in the profit ratio, you will pass the entry for profit and loss account, suspense account debit to deceased partner capital account, and reverse entry in case of loss. And when there is a change in the profit ratio, when the old ratio and the new ratio of remaining partner is different, then the entry would be remaining partners capital account debit to deceased partners capital account in case of profit, and the entry would be reversed if there is a loss, for a deceased partner. So I hope these two cases must be clear, and normally shouldn't make a mistake in this type of cases. So that's why I have taken these cases. Now I'm going to take, on the request of several students and teacher as well, that I should make a presentation on the different cases of expenses on dissolution of the firm. So before we discuss the different cases on the dissolution, let's understand two terms. Students should differentiate between the terms borne and paid. Whenever you see the term borne, the relevant party, whether it's a partner or whether it's a partnership firm, should be debited. So in case of partnership firm, realization account is debited, and in case of partner, concerned partner's capital account is debited. And when you see the term paid, then relevant party should be credited. So in case of firm, cash or bank account will be credited, but in case of partner, concerned partner's capital account will be credited. So if expenses are borne by the firm, then in that case, realization account will be debited. If the expenses are borne by partner, then concerned partner's capital account will be debited. And when expense realization are paid by firm, in that case, bank account will or cash account will be credited. And when any partners agree to pay expense realization, in that case, concerned partners capital account will be credited. Let's understand with the help of different cases. First case, let's understand first case. When the expenses are borne by the firm and paid by the firm, or when simply it is mentioned that the expenses of the firm are paid, or the expenses on dissolution are given. So different type of languages may be used. So whenever the expenses of the firms are given to you, in that case, you make an entry in relation account debit to cash or bank account. So you show on the debit side of the register account and you write to bank account or to cash account. So whether you have to prepare cash account, whether you have to make a cash bank account, if cash and bank both accounts are given, then the entry should be passed through cash account. If cash account is given in the question, then entry should be passed through cash account. Or if bank account is given, then the entry should be passed through bank account. So in nutshell, if the both accounts are given, then the entry should be passed through cash account and bank's balance is transferred in the cash account. Okay, so actually full-fledged length question is not going to be asked in the examination. So you will be asked to prepare realization account and may be asked in a rare case to prepare the capital accounts. But you are going to ask, you're going to be asked to prepare realization account. This question is expected to as an alternative to the retirement of the part, retirement chapter. So you will compare both the question and in the reading time, and you will decide which question you have to attempt. So that was the additional information. Now, second case, when the expenses are borne by the firm and paid by a partner, or when the expenses are paid by a partner on the behalf of the firm. So when the expenses are borne by the firm and paid by partners, so in that case, the firm is basically bearing. So the realization account will be debited, and if one particular partner is paying or he has agreed to pay the expense relation, then in that case his capital account will be credited. Now next third case we have when the expenses are borne by partner and paid by a firm. In that case, the partner is bearing the expenses, so partner's capital account will be debited, and as the firm is paying, then the cash or bank account will be credited. Then we have when the expenses are borne as well as paid by a partner. So one partner is bearing, another partner is paying. So same partner is paying, both bearing the expenses, and same partner is paying. So same partner's capital account will be debited and credited. So there will be no relevance to make an entry. So no entry will be passed in such a case. Fifth case, when the expenses are borne by partner and paid by another partner. So the partner who is going to bear will be debited and the partner who is going to pay will be credited. Let's understand with the help of one example. Expenses on realization are borne by Ram, whereas it will paid by Sham and for rupees 2000. So here the Ram has agreed to bear the expenses, so the Ram's capital account will be debited, and Sham has agreed to pay it, then Sham's capital account will be credited. The entry would be Ram's capital account debit to Sham's capital account. Now one more case, that is when the expenses of the firm are borne by firm and partly by the firm and partly by partner. So expenses of firm are being borne partly by the firm and partly by a partner. Let's understand with the help of an example. Expenses on dissolution amounted to ₹10,000, out of which ₹4,000 were paid by the firm and the remaining by the partner. So here the expenses are ₹10,000, and out of which 4,000 are being paid by the firm. So the firm is paying, the firm account will be credited, and the remaining expenses are being paid by the partner, so partner capital account will be credited. So expenses are being borne by ₹10,000 by the firm. So for firm purpose, realization account will be debited by ₹10,000, and out of that 4,000 is being paid by the firm, so cash or bank account will be credited, and remaining 6,000 is being paid by partner, so concerned partner's capital account will be credited. I hope all these 6 cases will be understood to you. Now one more case, that is the last case. Here you will be given 2 different transactions. So one will be the total expenses which are borne, and another actual amount of expenses paid by the partner. So let's understand. When the expenses are agreed to be borne by a partner for a fixed amount and the actual expenses are paid by the firm to such partner. So how such type of case may appear in the exam? Just like here, Mr. Ram, a partner, is given the duty to complete the process of dissolution. And for this purpose, the firm agrees to pay rupees 10,000, whereas actual expenses are incurred by around rupees 10,000. So what is the meaning of the entire transaction? That firm has negotiated with Ram, that is remaining partner have agreed with Ram that he will take a charge to dissolve the firm. And for this purpose, from the firm's account, rupees 10,000 are agreed to be borne by the firm. So this is 10,000 which will be borne by all the partners, including Ram. So this 10,000 basically the expense for the firm. And now after agreeing that rupees 10,000 will be borne by the firm, then after that, Mr. Ram has involved himself in the process of completing the process of dissolution. While completing the process of dissolution, he must have required to pay certain amount of expenditure. So what he has done, instead of taking the amount of cash from the firm to pay the outsider, he would have preferred to pay rupees 12,000 from his own pocket, assuming that he will receive rupees 12,000 from the firm. So now what we'll do, when this 10,000 was agreed as an expense for the entire firm, the entry would be realization account debit to Ram's capital account. So here Ram's capital will be credited. It means on the credits of Ram's capital, we will write 10,000 rupees. It also means that when the capital accounts of the partner will be closed or Ram's capital account will be closed, Mr. Ram will be receiving 10,000 in addition to the amount of capital standing to his credit. So whatever the firm has to pay to Mr. Ram through his capital, 10,000 will be paid more in the form of capital. So he will receive 10,000 more. But the main thing, next thing, that while completing the process of dissolution, he had already paid rupees 10,000 from his pocket. So what he is supposed to do, he will withdraw rupees 12,000 before the complete before all the ledger accounts are closed. So as he has paid rupees 12,000 from his pocket, he will show the bills to the firm and he will withdraw the amount of his 12,000 just like a drawings. So the firm will pay to him. As the firm will pay to him, his capital account will be debited. And as the firm will pay, the cash or bank account will be credited. So this way, he will not be waiting that this 12,000 will get automatically paid to him when the capital account will be paid. So by that time, it might happen that the cash availability may not be there, or cash may not be there after paying the outside liabilities. So Mr. Ram will not wait when his capital account, all the partners are closed. So if he wait, definitely he will receive his 12,000 when the capital account will be closed. But what he will do, or he will prefer, that instead of waiting for all the capital accounts to close, he will withdraw rupees 12,000 from his capital. So when any partner withdraws any amount from the capital, it is basically a drawings. So we can make two entries: drawings account debit to cash or bank account, and later on the drawing is added to the capital account. The capital account is debited, drawings account is credited. So, or simply, if we combine these two entries, the entry is capital account debit to cash or bank account. I hope all these cases on expense dissolution must be clear to you. So I suggest that if you get everything clear in your mind, it's all right. And if you have something in doubt, just repeat the video and make your concepts clear. Or you can also send your queries on my phone number that is appearing on the screen. So all the best for the preparation and board examination. So we shall meet once again in another video. Thank you, everyone.